Let's kick things off with a pretty big question. What does it really mean to be the author of your own life?
It's such a powerful idea, isn't it? That feeling that you're the one in the driver's seat, that you get to make the calls and, shape your own future. Well, it turns out this isn't just some big philosophical idea. It's actually a quality we develop, a quality called self-determination.
So, what is self determination? Well, at its heart, it's about being the one who makes things happen in your life, instead of just letting life happen to you. And I think the best way to picture this is to think of a giant, strong tree. You see this amazing tree in full bloom, right? But that whole thing, it grew from these tiny little seeds that were planted way back in the soil of early childhood. And this is a really, really important point. We usually think about self-determination when we see teenagers, right? Pushing for independence. But the research is super clear on this. That big, strong tree doesn't just magically appear when you're 15. Nope. The groundwork, all those crucial roots, they're being laid way, way earlier, back in early childhood. So the big question is, how do we get from that little seed to a towering tree? Well, it all comes down to building two key types of skills. Okay, so these skills fall into two main buckets. On one side, you've got what researchers call volitional action. Just think of this as the what. It's your ability to decide what you want to do to pick a path. Then on the other side, you have agentic action. This is the how. It's all about having the self-control and the skills to actually do the thing, to walk the path you chose. And you absolutely need both to be in charge of your own life. All right, let's dig into that first set of skills, volitional action. Think of these as the very first sprouts you see pushing up through the dirt, the first signs of real growth. Just the simple ability to make a choice, it's unbelievably powerful. It's fundamental to our dignity, it builds our sense of independence, and get this, it actually makes us more motivated to learn. And this whole process starts so much earlier than you might think. We're not even talking about toddlers yet. We're talking about infants who can make a choice just by where they look. And by age 2, a kid can pretty reliably pick their favorite toy out of a lineup of 5. I mean, the foundation is being built from day 1. And you can really see these skills growing up over time when you look at something like problem solving. So a little preschooler, maybe 2 to 5 years old, can come up with a solution to a social problem, like how do we share this toy? But fast forward just a few years, and an elementary school kid can come up with 50% more solutions to that exact same problem. And then by the time they're in late elementary, something amazing happens. They start to think about their own thinking. They can realize, hey, this approach isn't working, and then switch up their strategy. It's this incredible step-by-step journey. Okay, so once a child can make a choice, what's next? Well, it's all about taking action. And this is where the trunk of our self-determination tree really starts to get thick and strong. This is that second piece of the puzzle, agentic action. Okay, get ready for this, because this number is wild. 11 months. By just 11 months old, babies can do more than just watch something happen. They can actually predict what someone is trying to do before it's even finished. They're already figuring out cause and effect. It's just incredible. And that early understanding of goals just takes off from there. There was this great study where researchers watched kids in a pretend grocery store. The 3-year-olds, they could follow a simple plan, get the apple. But the 5-year-olds, they were showing off some seriously flexible planning skills. They could adapt on the fly and handle much more complex ideas all on their own. They're not just following a script anymore, they're starting to write it themselves. And what's the absolute key to making all of this work? It's one thing, self-regulation. The ability to manage your feelings, to control your actions. It's called a cornerstone of development for a reason. I mean, think about it. It affects literally everything, from being able to pay attention in class to figuring out how to get along with friends. It's the engine that makes all of this action possible. But, and this is a huge but, these skills, these little seeds of self-determination, they can't just grow anywhere. They don't grow in a vacuum. They need the right kind of environment to really take root and flourish. They need a good garden. So to really get this, researchers use something called an ecological model. And the easiest way to think about it is like dropping a pebble in a pond. You see those ripples spreading out in circles? That's kind of like a child's development. It's shaped by these different layers of influence, starting with what's right next to them and expanding all the way out to the society they live in. Let's take a look at those layers. Okay, so right at the center of it all, of course, is the child. Everything starts with them, their unique personality, their biology, everything they're born with. Then, that first ripple out from the center, that's the child's immediate world. We're talking about family, school, friends. These are the people and places that have the most direct, most powerful impact on their everyday life. This is where they get the support and the chances they need to grow. And then you've got the biggest, widest circle. This is the broader world. Think about things like the community you live in, the culture's values, even things like laws and policies. All of this stuff creates the bigger picture, the overall climate that can either help that little seed grow or, make it a lot harder.
So, okay, what do we do with all this information? What does it mean for us, for parents, for teachers, for anyone who wants to help raise capable, self-determined people? Well, the good news is the research gives us a pretty clear roadmap. Let's talk about how to be a good gardener. First up, offer real choices. And I'm not talking about the fake choice, like, do you want to clean your room now or in 5 minutes? I mean real, valid options where the child actually has a say. Second, encourage them to be problem solvers. Don't just jump in with the answer. Give them a little support, what experts call scaffolding, to help them figure it out for themselves. Third, be responsive and be consistent. This creates that safe, secure feeling that lets a kid feel brave enough to explore and even fail sometimes. And last but not least, promote responsibility. This is how kids start to build that belief in themselves, that I can do this feeling that's so, so important.
And really, that brings us to the main takeaway here. Every single interaction is a chance. Every choice you offer, every problem you solve with them, it's a seed you're planting. So I'll leave you with this question. What seed of self-determination are you going to plant today?